Hey guys, welcome to Tuesday. This is our second week of live feeds, and I want to thank you guys for stopping by and checking out the page again. We've got a lot of increase in group membership, which is great, and the Fastpitch community is. I think we've got some people that are representative of the interest in some of the Fastpitch topics that we're going to be covering. One of the things that I'm going to do at the beginning of every live feed for this week is I'm going to give a quick class on linear and nonlinear constructed bats. It's a very key concept to understand when talking about bats and trying to get an understanding of what's going on with them. Now, a linear constructed bat would be something that is similar to a shell with a sleeve in it with nothing in the middle of the barrel. That's like a multi-layered composite or multi-layered aluminum even, but that's the linear idea of building a bat. Is basically what you see is what you get, which means that the wall of the bat, no matter how many layers it is compiled of, that's the bat. That's the wall of the bat, and that's a linear constructed bat. Now, a nonlinear bat, in my personal opinion, is a product of an ASA standard that was implemented that pretty much required bat manufacturers to start making bats a different way in order to comply with the new standard from when it comes to compression on these bats. If you take a linear constructed ASA bat, it is going to be very difficult to get that bat to perform to the point where someone's going to buy it. And that's where the nonlinear idea came from. So these manufacturers said, well, if I can't make a bat that's going to be hot enough to sell these people, how can we get around that? And how can we go ahead and try to make it fail? We know it's going to fail. We want it to be hot on the outside, but on the inside, they're going to give us like a little pass on the whole, regulation of what that compression number is. So that's the nonlinear bat. And the nonlinear bat is essentially an intentionally failing outer shell of the bat when it comes to a compression standard set forth by whatever governing board they need a stamp from, and they have put something inside the barrel to make it up to par. And the reason that they put stuff inside the barrel is because they want there to be a physical restriction on the inside of the barrel that restricts the outside shell, which is failing, from it cannot physically go past that point of all that stuff on the inside of it. And to give you an idea, I'm going to use Louisville as an example. Now, Louisville is, in my opinion, makes a really, really great nonlinear bat. And what they do is they put a floating piece of plastic, it's attached to the cap, and it's got a metal ring that's attached to it. And that ring just sits there 6 inches off the cap, and it just kind of hangs out there in the barrel. And the outside barrel fails from ASA standards, but the inside ring that's just hanging out there, that thing restricts the outside barrel from hitting it, from going any further than the actual diameter of the ring on the inside of the barrel. So I'm going to show you that right now. So this right here is the technology, or a variance of the technology that Louisville uses inside of their nonlinear bats. This is attached to the top of a cap, so the cap's right here, and this thing kind of hangs out. And basically, if you can see, I don't know if you can see or not, but there's a piece of foam, and it is in between two metal discs. And if you look at the metal discs from that way, you can actually see that this diameter of the disc right here is what's making this bat pass. Because when the outside shell, which is failing by ASA standards, compresses, it cannot go past that metal shell. So that is actually what you have. And if anybody's ever swung a fast pitch Louisville product, you know that when you barrel one up with the Louisville bat and you really hit it on the nails, you hear that loud snapping noise. And this is basically what you're hearing. That really high-pitched snap. That's what you're actually hearing when you barrel one up. So anyways, this is the kind of stuff that is inside of nonlinear bats. And let me tell you something. This is just one example. You would be amazed at the things that I take out of these nonlinear bats. So there's that. So thought we'd get that one out of the way. And I also wanted to let everybody know, since we don't have any questions coming in yet, that if you look at our website, we're actually running a pretty significant sale right now. Not only on our services in regards to our re-engineering service, which we're doing for 2 for 1 right now, but we're also going to be running a 20% off sale on all of our bats that we're going to be selling as well. So if you're looking for a new bat and you want us to work on it, now's the time to do it because it's 20% off. And then if you have an existing bat or a couple that are laying around in the garage, or you've just been kind of waiting to get them worked on, we run a 2 for 1 special right now, so that's a pretty good deal as well. So we're not going to be running it for very much longer. We haven't really decided how long we're going to be doing that for, but maybe I would imagine probably another week or so. So if you're interested in getting something out there, then send it to us. Visit our website. How are we doing, Randall, for whatever? All right. Okay, so we'll just for those of you, and I was using the Louisville as an example in regards to what a nonlinear bat is. So I'll just go ahead and show you the difference in the nonlinear technology between the Xeno, the LXT, and the PXT, or I guess the RXT for this season, I believe. And it's very, very, very simple. So, all right. So, this governor right here, if I take the piece of foam off, you can see it has 2 metal rings, okay? So this is 2 metal rings. This is the governor that goes inside of the Louisville Xeno. This is just, oh shoot. These are 2 rings, okay? And here is the difference between the 2-ring Xeno governor and this one right here is going to be the LXT. Now the LXT has, you guessed it, 1 ring. So 1 ring, so you're going to get a little bit more barrel performance or barrel flex out of the LXT. So if it hangs out right here, in comparison, Xeno governor, LXT governor. So if you're a person like who, let's say, likes to stand off of the plate when you're batting in softball, in my opinion, the LXT would be more of your go-to. And the reason being is because if these are hanging from the same cap and you have 1 ring right here which sits about 6 inches off the top of the cap into the barrel, and then you have this one which is the same length, but the first ring on the Xeno only is about 4 inches into the bat. So if you're talking about performance off the end of the bat, then it's guaranteed that you'll have more performance off the end of an LXT than you will have of a Xeno, and that's because you're going to get more barrel flex out of this section right here, because there's a longer distance from the cap to the first ring than there is with the Xeno, which is like 4 inches here, and then the LXT has about 6 inches. And then if you go up to the next actual, the next level of Louisville product, what you've got is the PXT or the RXT. I think it's the RXT this year. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Basically what it is you'll see that there is actually no ring. There's no metal ring on the PXT. They want that to be the least governed of all the offerings. And the idea is that you're going to get more performance out of that bat than you will out of the LXT or the PXT. So with that being said, we've got basically, if this were, I don't have one out of an RXT or a PXT right now, and yeah, and the PXT is it just has a piece of foam. Okay, it's basically just a piece of foam, except instead of a metal disc, they use a plastic disc, and they hover this piece of foam like right down in the barrel, just like this. It's not quite as the thing that's hanging off the cap isn't quite as big in diameter as this example, but that's all there really is to it. The difference in the nonlinear technology that goes in across the line for the Louisville product. Now, like I said, the LXT, just from a mechanical standpoint, is going to give you better barrel performance off the end of the bat. But here's the thing that you have to remember. For the big hitters, okay, for the girls that go up there and they can smoke the ball, all right, the Xeno is one of the more popular bats and has been traditionally in the industry. Now, the technology that was in the Xeno back in the day, well, not back in the day, but I mean 4 years ago, 5 years ago, hasn't really changed. It's still kind of the same thing going on inside the barrel. But the Xeno, in my opinion, is probably one of the best values on the market because it is such a cheaper bat from a price standpoint in relation to the LXT or the PXT or the RXT. The PXT has honestly has underperformed massively for Louisville for the last 2 years in regards to its flagship fast pitch softball bat. And for all you girls who've been in the game and play, you already know that. Very few people are going to be out there swinging a PXT. So anyways, that's pretty much the gist of the Louisville breakdown. Is there any other questions that we've got going on here? Okay. We really want to invite anybody and everybody to chime in on the on a feed. Please feel free to post whatever comments you want. It really helps when I get somebody to interact with, and if you can stimulate the conversation and kind of get me going on a little rant about something, that'll be great because I think one way. And sometimes I need to be reminded that, there's other people and they have other input that I maybe don't think about all the time. And that's really what we want to do is I'm not here to tell you what's on my mind. I want to interact with everybody and in turn have everybody get the most broad spectrum of good knowledge about a bat or bats as we can possibly provide. So if you have any questions at all, what's the best USA bat for coach pitch? Oh, okay. Well, hey Meredith, I think you're actually that's a really good question. If I were to do a coach pitch bat, it would be the Rawlings Threat. The reason being is it's a drop 13 bat, and it is an all composite one-piece bat. Now, in terms of the industry, an all composite one piece bat really hasn't been around since the combat ownership transfer and stuff like that, when the Maxims were made like that. And the Maxims are still made with a one piece composite construction. But when you're dealing with coach pitch, and I'm thinking about doing a bat for coach pitch, I want something that I can shave the living daylights out of, and I want something, and composite is the only thing that comes to mind. It's the best when it really comes to performance. And those Rawlings Threats are one-piece composite. And the best part about it is there's really no real like serious governing device on the inside of that bat. There is a governor on the inside of it. It's what I would maybe consider a ring, is definitely attached to the inside of the barrel. But once that's out of there, I would normally, on a regular USA bat, for a kid that was, going into Little League and he was actually going up against real pitching, I would say that I would probably just, remove the governor and probably maybe take a little bit off the barrel, but not very much. And the reason is because I want that durability and that structure to be there. So honestly, the Rawlings Threat is a really, really, really good bat, and it's available in the sizes that you're looking for Coach Pitch. And I love when people will send a bat in or buy a bat from us for Coach Pitch, because it basically gives me carte blanche to shave so much off the bat, so much more than I'd ever do. And I can do whatever I want with that thing. And the reason being is because the balls that they're throwing at these kids for Coach Pitch are super soft, and those kids can't really generate enough bat speed to ever break the thing in the first place. So I can just do so much with those bats, and without the risk of it ever breaking, which is pretty awesome for me. Kind of makes it like a circus bat. So, but if I were to go and swing the thing and I hit a regular baseball with it, it wouldn't last quite as long. So, yeah, Meredith, we are working on the lighting and AV. I've actually got an umbrella in front of me in the back of the camera right now, and I want to let you know that we are trying our best to make these videos as high quality as possible. And do I add back weight? Yes, I always will default back to adding the weight that I've taken off, and unless a customer wants me to do something else, leave it out, add a little bit extra. The default is add the weight back. But like I said, with the advent of new technologies that manufacturers are coming out with, adding weight back is only applicable when I'm actually using shaving as one of the techniques that I'm using to work that bat or engineer that bat. So I don't always have to add the weight back. If I remove that Louisville governor right there, for example, that thing weighs 1.75 ounces. So I'm going to have to compensate for that. Oh, okay. Sorry about the misinterpretation, Meredith. Meredith, that definitely can change things. But you have to remember that we're not making bats. I don't know. We're talking about the kind of the bats themselves, and I mean, obviously, anytime you're using a bat that's been engineered and altered in any way, you want to take into consideration what you're hitting, because harder ball will obviously create more stress on the barrel when you hit it. Anything else? Can we pull up the feed or comments? Hey guys, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up today. It's gonna be a little bit early. I want to thank you, Meredith, for interacting. That really helps, like I said. And I want to just invite anybody and everybody back to check out the live feed. Please, we have information here that can really help just about anybody. And one of the things that would really help is if you could ask some questions on our Facebook page that I can address in the next live feed. You know, if you guys get us, you know, if somebody suggests something that I can talk about, and then we can come back the next week and you know, address those questions, I think that will really help when it comes to the feeling of having us engaging with you and all that kind of stuff. So that would really be great. So thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you again next week. Thanks.